Most of your stress comes from trying to control what was never yours to command. You exhaust your mind replaying conversations, predicting outcomes, and worrying about opinions that live in other people's heads. But your true power has always been smaller and stronger than that. It lives in your choices, your effort, your discipline, and your character. The moment you shift your focus from the uncontrollable to the controllable, your energy stops leaking and starts building strength. You cannot control how people interpret you. You cannot control sudden setbacks, economic shifts, or unexpected criticism. You cannot control the past, no matter how many times you revisit it. But you can control how you prepare. You can control how you respond. You can control whether you act with integrity or impulse. That is where your authority begins. When you focus only on what is within your command, clarity replaces chaos. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you begin asking, "What is the best action I can take right now?" That question alone changes everything. It transforms you from a victim of circumstance into a strategist of your own life. Consider a difficult day at work. A colleague misunderstands you. A project fails. The natural instinct is frustration. You want to defend yourself, to control their perception. But their thoughts are not yours to manage. What is yours? Your preparation. Your professionalism. Your decision to improve your skills. Your choice to remain calm under pressure. When you focus there, you grow stronger instead of bitter. Letting go of what you cannot control is not weakness. It is precision. It is the discipline of refusing to waste emotional energy on things that offer no return. Every time you release the need to control outcomes, you reclaim mental space. That space becomes resilience. It becomes peace. This does not mean you stop caring. It means you care wisely. You invest your effort where it has influence. You refine your habits. You sharpen your thinking. You strengthen your body. You develop patience. These are controllable. These are trainable. And over time, they compound into unshakable confidence. When life becomes uncertain, narrow your focus. Ask yourself, what can I do in this moment that aligns with my values? What action reflects discipline instead of emotion? What response would make me proud tomorrow? Stay there. Stay with what is yours. The world will always move unpredictably. People will misunderstand you. Plans will collapse. But if your attention is anchored to your own actions and mindset, nothing can truly destabilize you. Control your effort. Control your attitude. Control your standards. Release the rest. Inner peace is not found by controlling the world. It is found by mastering yourself. Most people spend their lives chasing approval without realizing the cost. They adjust their personality to fit expectations, soften their opinions to avoid conflict, and measure their value by the applause they receive. But external validation is unstable currency. It rises and falls with trends, moods, and other people's insecurities. If you build your identity on it, you build on shifting ground. Your worth cannot depend on praise. Praise is selective and temporary. One day you are admired, the next day you are ignored. If your confidence depends on recognition, then your emotional state will always be in someone else's hands. That is not strength. That is dependency. Detaching from external validation begins with a simple realization: other people's opinions are reflections of their perspective, not definitions of your character. Someone may misunderstand you. Someone may criticize you. Someone may fail to see your effort. None of that changes your integrity, your discipline, or your commitment to growth. Those qualities exist whether anyone acknowledges them or not. When you stop seeking approval, you make decisions from principle instead of pressure. You no longer ask, "Will they like this?" You ask, "Is this aligned with my values?" That shift creates stability. Your actions become consistent because they are guided by internal standards rather than public reaction. Imagine posting something meaningful online and receiving little response. If your motivation was attention, disappointment will follow. But if your motivation was truth, growth, or contribution, the outcome does not diminish the act. The value was in the intention and the courage to express it. When your validation comes from living according to your standards, silence does not shake you. Detachment also protects you from manipulation. People cannot easily control someone who does not crave their approval. When you no longer need constant reassurance, you become less reactive and more grounded. You listen to feedback without being defined by it. You consider criticism without absorbing it as identity. You remain open, but not fragile. This does not mean you ignore all opinions. Constructive feedback can sharpen you. Wise counsel can guide you. But there is a difference between learning from others and depending on them to feel worthy. One strengthens you, the other weakens you. Building internal validation requires daily discipline. Keep promises to yourself. Follow through on your commitments. Speak honestly. Act with integrity even when no one is watching. Each time you do, you reinforce a deeper confidence, one that does not require witnesses. When you define yourself by your virtues instead of applause, you gain freedom. Freedom from comparison. Freedom from constant performance. Freedom from anxiety over how you are perceived. You begin to move with quiet certainty. The world may celebrate you or overlook you. It may support you or misunderstand you. But if your sense of worth is rooted in character rather than compliments, you remain steady. Approval becomes optional, not essential. Real confidence is silent. It does not beg to be seen. It knows its value without needing to prove it. Life will test you in ways you cannot predict. Delays, disrespect, failure, and loss will arrive without invitation. You cannot prevent every difficult moment, but you are never powerless within them. The one thing that always remains under your authority is your response. That is where your true strength lives. Your first reaction is often emotional. Anger rises when you feel insulted. Fear appears when something uncertain happens. Frustration builds when plans collapse. These responses are natural, but they do not have to become decisions. There is a space, small but powerful, between what happens and how you act. In that space lies your discipline. Mastering your reactions begins with awareness. Notice the surge of emotion without immediately obeying it. Observe the tension in your body. Recognize the impulse to speak too quickly or act too harshly. When you pause, even for a few seconds, you interrupt the chain between feeling and behavior. That pause is control. Consider a moment when someone criticizes you publicly. The instinct may be to defend yourself aggressively or retaliate. But reacting impulsively often damages more than it protects. If you slow down and respond with composure, you preserve your dignity. You choose clarity over chaos. You show strength without raising your voice. Emotional discipline does not mean suppression. It means direction. Anger can become motivation to improve. Fear can become preparation. Disappointment can become reflection. When you guide your emotions instead of being driven by them, they become tools instead of obstacles. Mastery of reaction also protects your peace. Many people allow small inconveniences to control their entire day. A rude comment ruins their mood. Traffic creates hostility. Minor setbacks spiral into negativity. But when you train yourself to respond calmly, you prevent external events from dictating your internal state. You remain steady regardless of circumstance. This steadiness is built through practice. Start with small challenges. When irritation arises, choose patience. When provoked, choose silence before speech. When stressed, choose deliberate breathing instead of panic. Each controlled response strengthens your mental endurance. Over time, what once triggered you will barely disturb you. There is power in restraint. Not every comment deserves an answer. Not every conflict requires escalation. Sometimes the strongest move is composure. When you refuse to be controlled by impulse, you gain authority over yourself. And self-authority is greater than controlling others. People may attempt to provoke you. Situations may feel unfair. But your reaction is your responsibility. No one can force you to abandon your principles unless you allow it. When you respond with intention rather than instinct, you protect your character. In the end, your life is shaped less by what happens to you and more by how you answer it. Circumstances will always vary. Your response can remain consistent. Calm. Measured. Strong. Master your reactions, and you master your life. Discomfort is not something to fear, it is the tool you have been given to forge strength. Life is full of challenges, obstacles, and situations that push against your comfort. Most people avoid them, retreating into convenience, ease, and distraction. But those who seek inner strength understand that true growth does not happen in comfort. It happens when you embrace hardship as training. Every difficulty is an opportunity to expand your resilience, sharpen your focus, and strengthen your mind. Consider the moments when life feels unfair, a project fails despite your effort, a friendship ends, or your plans are delayed. The natural reaction is to complain, to withdraw, or to demand that life be easier. But hardship is not a punishment. It is a lesson disguised in struggle. Every obstacle you encounter gives you the chance to practice patience, courage, and perseverance. The more you lean into discomfort instead of avoiding it, the more resilient you become. Training your mind through discomfort begins with perspective. Pain, inconvenience, and failure are inevitable. You cannot always control them, but you can control how you interpret them. You can choose to see challenges as threats or as opportunities for growth. When you choose the latter, every uncomfortable moment becomes a workout for your character. Emotional fortitude, mental clarity, and disciplined action are all strengthened through repeated exposure to adversity. Physical discomfort, too, is a teacher. Waking up early for exercise, pushing your body through fatigue, or enduring a long day without complaint builds more than muscles, it builds resolve. Your mind learns that it can tolerate more than it initially believed. The same principle applies to mental discomfort. Facing difficult conversations, accepting criticism, or confronting your own weaknesses trains you to remain calm, thoughtful, and courageous under pressure. Embracing discomfort also sharpens your decision-making. When you experience challenging situations regularly, you become less reactive to smaller setbacks. You learn to distinguish between trivial annoyances and meaningful obstacles. Your focus becomes sharper, your patience deeper, and your composure steadier. Life storms no longer shake you because you have trained your mind to weather them. This is not about seeking suffering unnecessarily. It is about refusing to shy away from life's inevitable difficulties. Avoiding discomfort may provide temporary relief, but it weakens your capacity to endure, to persevere, and to grow. Every challenge you face voluntarily or involuntarily is a chance to strengthen your mental toughness. The person who embraces these trials emerges stronger, calmer, and more capable than those who choose ease. Remember, comfort is a temporary pleasure. Strength, resilience, and peace endure. When you reframe hardship as practice rather than punishment, you transform fear into opportunity, frustration into focus, and struggle into mastery. Life becomes not something to survive, but something to train through, moment by moment, obstacle by obstacle. The more you embrace discomfort, the more you build an unshakable mind. Each challenge is no longer a barrier, it is a stepping stone. Hardship stops being an enemy and becomes the ally that shapes you into someone stronger, wiser, and unstoppable. True inner peace is not found in circumstances, possessions, or the approval of others. It is cultivated through deliberate, daily practice, through consistent effort to align your actions, thoughts, and habits with your values. The mind, like the body, grows stronger through discipline, reflection, and intentional living. Small daily acts, repeated over time, form the foundation of a steady, unshakable character. Inner peace does not arrive by accident, it is built, piece by piece, through conscious choice. Start with self-reflection. Each day, take a moment to examine your actions, your thoughts, and your reactions. Ask yourself where you acted with integrity and where you allowed impulse to guide you. Recognize patterns that lead to distraction, frustration, or regret. Reflection is not for self-criticism but for understanding. By observing yourself honestly, you identify what strengthens you and what weakens you, giving you the ability to adjust before small issues become bigger problems. Discipline is another pillar. Restraint in your words, consistency in your actions, and control over your impulses create reliability and trust in yourself. When you follow through on commitments, even small ones, you reinforce the belief that you are capable, dependable, and in control of your life. Discipline is not punishment, it is the scaffolding that supports freedom. Freedom from chaos, from regret, from being controlled by fleeting emotions or circumstances. Intentional action means living deliberately. Choose tasks, relationships, and habits that align with your long-term values rather than immediate gratification. Every choice matters. When you act with purpose, your energy is focused, your mind is clear, and your life becomes coherent instead of scattered. Each day becomes a building block for the person you wish to become. Over time, these choices compound into unshakable confidence and serenity. Resilience also comes from accepting what is beyond your control while giving your best to what is within it. You cannot prevent setbacks, criticism, or loss, but you can maintain composure, respond thoughtfully, and learn from each experience. Peace comes from recognizing that while life is unpredictable, your effort, your attitude, and your integrity are always yours to command. When your happiness depends on these controllable elements, you are no longer a victim of circumstance. Daily discipline, self-reflection, and intentional action are not separate practices, they reinforce each other. Reflection informs your actions, actions build discipline, and discipline allows you to act with clarity and purpose. Over time, this synergy creates a mind that is steady, focused, and resilient. Challenges may arise, opinions may fluctuate, and life may test you, but the calm cultivated through consistent practice remains. Finally, inner peace grows when you let go of the constant need for external validation. When your measure of success is aligned with personal standards, not the fleeting judgments of others, your mind becomes free to operate without distraction or anxiety. Self-reliance in thought and action ensures that you remain unshaken by praise or criticism, surrounded by silence or chaos alike. Peace is the result of sustained effort, not luck. It is forged daily in the choices you make, the discipline you practice, and the integrity you uphold. When these habits are cultivated consistently, the mind becomes strong, clear, and serene, no matter the storm outside. True inner peace is the reward for a life lived deliberately, intentionally, and with unwavering self-mastery.